Good morning. Morning, how are we all? Faye Edwards here. Hope everyone is well. Today's topic, living life with purpose. What does that mean? What does it mean to you? I've had an unexpected meeting this morning, so I've driven an hour and I've been listening to David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me. I don't know if you've come across that book. I downloaded it a while ago, started listening and thought, it's not resonating with me at all. I don't know what this is about or who this person is. And I've read so many motivational stories that, without sounding disparaging, they can sometimes blend into one, and it goes into such minute detail about people's childhoods and lives that it starts to lose interest and it starts to lose relevance, and it almost makes you think that you must have had a horrendous experience or life to be able to understand personal growth and development. And so this is what this David Goggins book started out like. He is a black guy in America and was all very basketball and just things that I didn't understand. Anyway, something made me try it again, and I'm only on chapter 2, and he was talking about living life with purpose this morning. And it was a wow moment for me. It really was, because what happens to many of us is that it's really, really easy to drift through life, drift through a day, which means drifting through a week, which means drifting through a month. And yeah, of course, we can live life in that way, and it's pleasant enough, and we have a certain amount of contentment. But is that actually what we want? Or do we want more? Do we want to have purpose and achievements and goals? There are people in life who are incredibly lucky. I was listening to Samantha Morton on Desert Island Discs this week, and in fairness, she really had a lucky break. They exist. She'd had a horrendous experience in childhood and was in care homes and finished education at 13. She had a fantastic acting talent. Somebody noticed it. She went on to be Oscar nominated. The rest of us can't wait for life to happen in that way. And so the vast majority of people who create their own lives and create their own destinies have done it because they have decided to start living with purpose. And that doesn't mean getting up, going to work, coming home, eating dinner and going to bed on repeat. Like I said, that kind of life can be content and it can be happy, but is it what we actually want? Did we really ever want to do the same job every day for 40 or 50 or more years? Or did we want to have things that pushed us and helped us experience new experiences and opportunities? And so living life with purpose is about saying to yourself, what do I want to do? What do I want to happen? And what can I do to make those things happen? What can I introduce to my life each day to make those changes? As many of you will know, 4 years ago, I went through a really, really difficult patch, and I really credit that time with me getting to know myself. I don't really think I did before. I was floating through life and experiences. And because most of those experiences were pretty good and were happy and comfortable and content, I'd never thought to live uncomfortably, to push myself and to see what else was out there. And it was only when I realised that actually that contentness was actually quite tenuous, because something happened that really, really put that at risk. And then I started exploring how I could change my life, how I could actually take control of it, because quite a lot of the time people let life happen to them rather than making life happen for them. And that's when we get into the cycle of same thing day in, day out, because we haven't taken any control. David Goggins talks about an accountability mirror, and it's something in loads of personal growth that you will come across, having a chat in the mirror, having post-it notes, putting your plans on there. And it can take many facets. It can be an accountability mirror. The reason a mirror is a good thing is because we generally tend to look in it at least once a day while we're brushing our teeth or washing our hands. And so it is a regular, permanent thing in our life. And what David Goggins did was stood there one day and said, "You're not happy. What you're doing is escaping." Basketball was his love, and he thought that playing basketball was his treat in life. And he started doing it so much, he was doing it to the detriment of everything else. And it was only then that he realised basketball was actually his escape. And yes, some of us may think we need an escape, whether it be knitting, sea swimming, watching television of an evening. But what are you escaping from? If you're using it to escape from the things that you know you should be doing and you want to be doing, then it's actually getting in your way. It isn't serving a positive purpose. So he started using his accountability mirror to say, have you done enough exercise today? Have you done some studying? Have you sat down and made a plan? What do you want to achieve tomorrow? Then he would stick them on Post-it notes around the mirror. So the next day when he went back, he could say, right, I did 50 press-ups. I did 4 hours of studying. I contacted this influential person that I need to start making the changes in my life, and then made the goals for the next day. And he totally attributes this to the change in his life. He actually started making progress. So rather than drifting along like he had done before, without getting any closer to the things that he wanted to be doing, he started moving closer, because each of those Post-it notes represented a step closer to where he needed to be. He did the studying, he did the exercise, he went against doing basketball because he knew that by doing that, he was escaping from doing the things that he needed to do to get him where he wanted to be. And so that accountability mirror became his way of tough love with himself, having a chat with himself, and creating the future and the steps towards the future that he wanted. And this was the huge game changer. And so to live life with purpose, we have to make that purpose. We have to introduce it. It doesn't just come on its own. Unless you're one of the Samantha Mortons, the lucky few where breaks do land on your lap, we can create these situations for ourselves. I don't know, Louise Hay is an amazing, amazing influence on me, particularly. You Can Heal Your Life is her very famous book. And when I needed it, that it was the absolute book that I went to, because it made me realise how much I could heal and how much actually I had to heal. I didn't know how much healing I needed to be done. And quite often when we are drifting through life, we're not ever facing up to the problems and to the things that we need to work through and the things that we need to resolve. We're just packing them away under the surface because we're getting on with life. We're getting up, we're going to work, we're doing the family, our house is clean, and we're not facing up to the bit underneath, the things that need the work. Louise Hay talks a lot about mirror work, which I know some people find really, really freaky, having basically a motivational chat with yourself in the mirror. Most people just feel silly and they don't feel it's going to have any difference. But like everything, once it becomes habit, and once you use that chat to say, actually, what do I want? You start saying things to yourself in the mirror that you didn't even realise you wanted. And by doing that, you've created a process where you can become accountable to yourself, and you almost trust yourself more because you're speaking to yourself. Right, Faye, what do we need to do today? I need to speak to this person about that deal. I need to get this sorted. I need to speak to my broker. I need to get this ball rolling. I really want to contact this person. I want to work with them. I'm going to give them a call, send them an email, research them, find out their contact details. By taking those proactive steps, you are creating your own destiny, and you are writing the way that your life and your future is going to shape. You're not just sitting there and existing and letting life happen to you. So many people aren't particularly happy with their lot, and instead of breaking it down and working out what they would like, they just think it's never possible. It's not achievable. It's not something that I can create. I'm not the kind of person who can do that. All those things are blocks. You're putting blocks in your own way. By acknowledging that you're not happy, or that there are certain things that you're not happy about, doesn't necessarily mean you're living a life of unhappiness, but the things that you would change, once you acknowledge them, then you make a list. Then you start to explore what you would like to change. Then you can work out the way to do it. Break it down, small steps. David Goggins talked about people having weight problems, and he said, stand in the mirror and tell yourself that you're fat, because you are. And therefore, your first goal will be lose 2 pounds in the next 2 weeks. That is an entirely achievable goal. It's not something that is going to completely freak you out and say, this is impossible, I can't do it. But also not acknowledging that is actually hiding it and not facing up to it and not realizing the thing that's making you unhappy. This applies to everything, whether it's about your financial situation, whether it's about your career, whether it's about your family situation. By standing there and looking yourself in the eyes and saying, I'm not happy with this and this is what I want to do about it, you have taken the first step to making that change. And the change doesn't happen on its own. So it's not a case of being bonkers and talking to yourself in the mirror. It's a case of using that opportunity to have a chat with yourself. Tough love with yourself. Make it a habit. Make it on a daily basis. What am I going to do today? If you don't achieve them, you don't beat yourself up. You get more fired and inspired and you say, I'm going to do it tomorrow. I didn't do it today. I'm definitely going to do this tomorrow. You identify why you didn't do it. Were you procrastinating? Did something happen? Are there certain steps that you need to take before you can achieve those things? Once you've identified why, you can then overcome those things and it can happen the next day. There are so many people I know who are putting up with situations that they're not happy with because they think they can't change them. But they are the ones who can change them. Nobody else knows exactly what you want or what you desire or how you see your future. You don't have to drift along uncomfortable and unhappy. You can write down and take the steps and make the changes that are going to start to mould and define the future. So for me, that's what living life with purpose is about. It isn't drifting through and just accepting what comes your way. It's actually having control of your own life. There are always things that are going to happen that we can't control. But when we're living life with purpose, we're in a so much better position to be able to cope with them. I think I spoke about this the other day. Don't you find that you're always the person that people go to when something happens, when something goes wrong? That's because you're strong and you're capable. So you can be strong and capable for yourself as well as for other people. And when things do happen, you're not railroaded. You deal with it, you do what's necessary, it's dealt with, and then we move on. Changes that are really beneficial and really change how you perceive yourself and how your life turns out. So give it a try. Accountability mirror, mirror of life, whatever you might want to call it, they are the things that are going to make the difference. Let me know how it goes.